So we need to enforce that too. We need to know what date they submit the permit and it gets approved and what date they finish your project.
Is a time limit in the ordinance there now?
Yep, so there's two different ones.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, we got,
But this really should, the new planning and zoning ordinances that went into effect in 2008 should be.
I do believe that Joe Behrens did tell us that when the 2008 planning and zoning ordinances were approved and adopted by the city, they override what is in the city ordinance code book. Yes. And I remember that.
Can you check on that for sure?
well,
Make sure positive.
I'm not saying you guys gotta charge or whatever you gotta do, but we should have somebody that they're willing to inspect it twice, make sure that it's been done right. And that's why they charge it, they give this guy $40 in Lakeview to make sure and has all that brought to snuff. And if there's a problem, then they go to our zoning board, makes it final say-so, I think.
Does Lakeview have that fee in their ordinance?
Yeah,
Yes,
they got
they actually
50, $20 for 8 by 8, 50 for anything from 10 by 10 to 50,000.
Yeah.
And then $100 for anything from over $100,000.
So you're suggesting then that we amend the ordinance to put in a fee?
Well, that's one thing. We're asking that you appoint a commissioner, and if that commissioner is the same person that's going to do the inspections, they don't have to be, but it would be easy if they were, and that you implement a fee.
Well, and Marlene would have to send out 3 letters, for example, on that variance. And do the paperwork and make sure they get back. I mean, it does take the city a certain amount of
Time and effort.
Well, it's up to you guys whether you want to charge. We're just making suggestions, and you can shoot it out where you want.
Bottom line is, we're on this committee and we're doing it for nothing, and we don't want to, our responsibility is to make sure that's why you guys don't have to do it, because you appointed us to do it. But we don't have a commissioner and we don't have anybody doing the inspections. Right now, the whole group is going out and doing it. It's hard to get 5 people together.
Who's doing the inspections for Lakeview, you know? Here?
Can't say right now, but I think they actually, our board recommended a guy, and then the council appointed him. That's where
Daryl
they did it.
Eyeshide is the building
Yeah,
inspector.
and the zoning board recommended a guy, and then you guys approve it. The way they did there. I'm not saying we got to follow Lakeview. I'm just saying, but they have a lot of issues around that lake, you understand, where maybe we don't have that much, but it would be nice to have make sure that we're right. We don't want to be cutting roofs off.
Yeah, when we ran into that Joe Apple problem, I remember that.
Yeah, we moved that garage over there by Mrs. Tunkett's about 4 feet. And that was a bad deal. It cost them a lot of money to do that. So it's something to consider.
Well, I think it's got to be under consideration. I don't think we can do anything tonight.
What we don't.
We don't expect you to, but those are things that we need to do before we can move forward as a group to enforce the ordinances.
I may have missed that part about the appointed commissioner. Is that one of the 5 in the group?
Actually, no, it can't be. It can't be one of the 5 of us.
Can't be an elected official.
Okay,
And it can't be.
but that's inspector issue then, that's the same person, I'm saying that's the same?
It should be.
It very well could be, yes, and that's the way it should, to me, it should be. Make it simple, make it be the same person. It doesn't have to be, but it sure could be.
It would be simpler if it was. If we had somebody that went, checked on the thing, and if they thought there was something that needed to be done, they could have the person stake the dang thing out, and then have the board come look at it.
Absolutely.
And then if it's okay, then that person still checks to make sure that's done the way they said it was going to be.
That the hole dug as big as it was, or the roof isn't hanging over into, 3 feet onto the other person's.
You gotta have some sort of a constructional background, Rob.
You just need to read these. I mean, you just gotta read them.
Or it just, just needs to be somebody that's gonna do it and follow the progression of the whole.
Project.
The fee paid to the inspector also part of the ordinance?
It's gonna have to be, because right now ours state no fees.
County
So-
and Lakeview.
And they did a resolution.
Not the fee to the person applying, but what was paid to the inspector, is that part of the?
That I didn't see. I saw where they appointed Daryl, but they didn't say what they were gonna pay him.
Okay.
Well,
And
yeah,
that
they
was
did, redid it after a
But it
while.
wasn't
Started
part-
with a $10 deal and then they went to 40.
Yeah, but it
I don't
doesn't
know
say
where
what
that
they're
was at.
paying him.
I don't feel we should take advantage of the people trying to build something in town, but in the same deal, I suppose every town practically does it this way, has some kind of a fee, and make sure that it's inspected right.
Well, I'm sure it's got to be done, so it's done correctly. I mean, we want to follow all the ordinances.
Well, we don't want to have any lawsuits. Like they say, you get 3 people sign off on a variance, or all your neighbors, you're pretty well off the hook. The town is, and probably the board.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking everybody off the hook, the property owner, or the one wanting to build, the property owners around him, and they could change in time. I mean, it just kind of alleviates everything. So,
Well, let's table this until the next city council meeting.
Would you like us to recommend somebody for
Would you please?
commissioner?
absolutely.
We will.
In fact, we would like a couple of recommendations. What do you think?
If we're talking about setting a fee and paying the inspector, and the inspector being the commissioner, maybe it should be an application process. Like, rather than appoint somebody that may not want it, just have people apply for that position.
Yeah, somebody may want it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna get rich at it. A lot of headaches if you want.
Yeah.
If nobody wants it, then you can
Right.
appoint somebody.
Well, I would still probably want some recommendations, but we can also go along with what John said, is applications for it also.
It's just something to look into, make sure we're right. Because, we got everything down here, but we're not doing a very good job. Put it that way. We're weak.